for those who are not in the real estate industry, they might not know quite the buzz that's been happening. But for us who are in the real estate industry, I mean, there's a webinar every day by somebody.
There is. Yeah, if you're in real estate and not on Facebook, you're missing out.
Yes.
There are hundreds and hundreds of either live webinars or Facebook Lives or postings on Facebook regarding everything that's going on in real estate. The investor community has been really superb in this, in getting information out and being proactive and trying to stay ahead of the curve. And so my Facebook feed is plastered with, I could spend all day learning stuff right now.
Absolutely.
And if you're sitting at home, what else you got going on?
That's
might as well be learning something new.
So true, so true. And with things changing so quickly,
you really do need to stay updated.
You really do need to stay updated.
We'll talk about that when we get into the details of why it's important. You'll need to stay updated.
Yes, I totally agree. All right, so let's dive into this first question. Question that's been getting asked a lot through the social media of the InvestorNet groups and Facebook. What was the latest news from the governor on being able to evict tenants who can no longer pay their rent who live in your rental properties due to obviously job losses that are happening?
Well, we got to take a step back, actually, before we even talk about the governor's executive order or a few days ago.
Okay.
Because the CARES Act, which was the federal bill that was passed about a week ago, that most of us know as the free checks that are going to be coming in a few weeks.
Yes.
The direct deposits to taxpayers. There are SBA loans, which we'll talk about in there, and there's some other benefits for landlords that might help landlords that are in that package.
Wonderful.
But that package also covers eviction. And as federal law, it will override state law. You actually have to determine whether or not the federal law applies, and then if it doesn't, does the Utah law apply?
Interesting.
And one thing you have to understand about all laws, essentially, is that they go through a legislative process where a legislative body deliberates and passes a bill, right? Creates a law.
Yes.
And that's what Congress did a week ago with the CARES Act.
Got it.
The law then goes to the different governmental departments who actually create the systems and processes to make it happen, right? We know that the taxpayers are going to get a big check.
Yes.
Right? But the Treasury Department is overseeing that, so they're the ones writing the systems and processes on how to get the money out to the people. Some money's going, will go to banks, and banks then, through the Treasury Department, will decide how they're going to do the SBA loans. So a lot of this still needs to shake out to get all the clarity on exactly what's going on.
Got it.
So that's why I do want to really recommend anything we say today could literally change tomorrow.
That's so true.
But what we kind of know now, and I was on a conference call yesterday with a local eviction attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So the federal law, and it does ban evictions, so it's stopping evictions for 120 days. That's the next 4 months.
Got it.
And whether or not the federal, so the first thing you have to do is, does the federal law apply to my rental property and my tenants?
Gotcha.
Okay. The federal law applies to all property that have a federally backed mortgage on them.
Gotcha.
So this is a mortgage that's backed by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, HUD, the VA.
Got it.
And that covers about 80% of all mortgages in the country.
Gotcha.
So you have to ask yourself, does my rental property have a mortgage? If you own your rental property free and clear, you are not covered by the federal law. Okay?
Gotcha.
If you've got any mortgage on it, even in a seller finance deal, that mortgage is tied to that property. And that mortgage then, if it's federally backed, you are subject to the federal law.
Got it.
And the federal law has stopped evictions for the next 4 months.
Got it.
Now, when we say stopped evictions, that just means you can't evict. And as of yesterday, what the attorney was saying was that the local eviction courts have just stopped even taking applications.
Okay.
Because they know the federal law is going to shut down most, and the state, we'll talk about the state as well.
Yep.
And so really they're just not even taking applications right now.
Got it.
my guess is in a few days, and they kind of work through this, if these laws don't apply to you, they will start accepting those applications. Again, we're just still waiting for sort of how this all is going to play out.
Got it.
So really, that federal law is going to apply to almost all rental property.
Got it.
If they have a mortgage on it and then their mortgage is federally backed, then there's a stay on evictions for 4 months, 120 days.
Got it.
Now, that is not any kind of rent payment relief.
Right.
It's not saying that tenants don't have to pay rent. That is not the case.
It's just saying they're not going to get evicted.
They can't get evicted for non-payment.
Right.
Well, really, right now, the way it's planned out is they can't be evicted for anything.
Got it.
Okay. Now, that may change in the next few days and few weeks and even months.
Right.
Of what other evictions may go forward.
Got it.
Okay. So, if you are in a situation where you need to evict a tenant and you can't, again, hang on. It may, a few weeks more, a lot of this will shake out. But that does not relieve your tenants from paying you the rent or from you keeping track of how much rent they owe you over the next 4 months.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
So don't think that you can still collect the rent. It's got nothing to do with rent forbearance.
Right.
The government, to help tenants pay their rent, is those checks.
Gotcha.
Right? The $1,200 or $2,400, et cetera. It's going to the American public. That is so that the American public has cash that they can pay their rent or bills.
Got it.
So that's how the federal government is currently helping tenants, is through those direct payments through the Treasury Department. And then we can talk a little bit later how things that can benefit the landlord.
Got it.
Okay, so that's the federal law.
Okay.
And so pretty much most evictions for 80% of all rental properties out there, if they have a mortgage on it, and most most properties do have mortgages these days.
Yes.
Very few are owned free and clear.
Right.
So even if that doesn't apply, the federal law does not apply to you, the state law has a 6-week freeze, or lawyers call a stay, on evictions until May 15th.
Okay.
But only if your tenants were caught up as of March.
Okay.
They paid March's rent. They were totally fine coming April 1st.
Yep.
And now suddenly in April, they can't pay rent due to COVID-19.
Got it.
So they either have gotten sick,
Yes.
or they were told not to come to work because
Right.
of COVID-19, or they lost a job because of COVID-19. So it has to be COVID-19 related.
And it has to be proven, right? If I
It has
understood.
to be proven, yes.
Yeah, you have to prove it.
You prove it that you are affected by COVID-19.
Yes.
And for that reason, you are unable to pay your rent.
Right.
Then the eviction process is stalled until May 15th.
Got it.
Okay. But again, most people are going to be covered by the federal law, and that's 4 months.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And again, the state law doesn't say anything about forgiving rent.
Yes.
It's just preventing evictions for a few weeks.
You still owe it.
The tenants still owe the rent.
Yes. That makes sense. So let's assume that, 4 months goes by, you're struggling finding employment. You now owe 4 months of rent. You have been relieved of being evicted. What's going to happen on that 5th month typically?
My guess is the evictions are going to skyrocket.
Got it. That's my guess too.
Yeah. The evictions are going to absolutely skyrocket.
Gotcha.
And the courts are probably going to be clogged up. It's probably going to take much longer to evict. Utah has a very quick eviction process naturally, but there will be an absolute backlog.
Got it.
Okay. But there's some things. Let's talk about what to do in the meantime.
Okay.
Okay. Because again, this is just stopping the eviction process. This has nothing to do with your lease.
Yes.
The terms of your lease.
Right.
The rent payment, late fee.
Right.
All these other things that are in your lease agreement.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You can still hold your tenants to everything in the lease agreement.
Got it.
But what we're recommending is that landlords really work with their tenants.
Got it.
Okay. Because if they've had good tenants and now they're just something happened, they got sick or they lost their job, they're in the retail industry or the food industry, the travel industry, they're now out of work.
Yes.
And when the healthcare crisis passes, and it will pass.
Yes.
Then people go back to work, and they probably will. So they probably will have income after that. So you've got this time period first of dealing with the health issues, where people physically are banned from going into work.
Yes.
And then we've got the economic recession that's almost certainly going to come out of this afterwards.
Right.
Okay. So what we're recommending is landlords really should work with their tenants. They've been good tenants. They had good jobs. They lost jobs due to the virus, and most likely they're going to get their jobs back.
Right. Right.
Okay? You can work with your tenants for the next 2 to 4 months. You can do things like put them on maybe a payment schedule,
Okay.
a reduced monthly rent,
Okay.
waive late fees if they're late
Great
on
idea.
payment, and or defer rent.
Yeah.
So you can say, you know what, you normally pay $1,000 for the next 4 months. Your rent is only $500.
Got it.
I'm going to forgive you the other $500.
Oh.
Or you can say, for the next 4 months, can you make half payment? If they
Yeah.
say yes, say, okay, that's great. You can make a $500 payment, and I'm going to defer
Mm-hmm.
the other $500 until later, and we'll work out a payment plan once you're back at work.
Got it.
Because you really want to keep good tenants.
Absolutely.
They've been good. They've been good to you,
Yes.
right? And you want to be good to them. This is no time. I've said this a million times. This is no time to be greedy.
Absolutely.
If you start being greedy, everyone will
Yes.
start being greedy,
Yes.
and it will actually make things much worse.
Absolutely. And in general, landlords don't want to evict tenants.
No, it's a pain and
Oh, yeah.
and loss of rent and all of that.
All of that. Yeah, especially good ones.
Yeah.
They're they're beneficial to the landlord.
That's right. And so, but whatever you do with your tenants,
Mm-hmm.
Do it in writing. Say, due to the coronavirus, due to the health crisis, due
right.
to whatever,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Landlord is agreeing to reduce your rent, defer your rent, waive late fee. Whatever it is that your benefit you're giving to your tenants,
Yes.
put it into writing.
Yes.
Make it very clear, is this rent forgiveness? Is this rent deferral?
Right.
If you do this verbally with your tenants, I
Yeah.
guarantee you in 4 months,
Yeah.
and you're trying to evict them,
Yep.
they're going to say, no, he waived rent for the
Exactly.
last 4 months, didn't defer it.
Yes.
And I don't owe him, my landlord, the 4 months rent because he said he was going to forgive it, and you, the landlord, say, no, it's just a deferral.
Yes.
And you're going to lose that battle.
Exactly.
So put it into writing.
Good idea.
Date it. When does the lease go back to its normal term? So it's clear that
Yep.
this is a temporary lease modification, and get your tenants to sign it, and then hold them to it.
Got it.
If they don't stick to that, my guess is they're probably going to be a bigger problem. And at that point, you may want to say, okay, these are people I'm going to have to evict. But at least you have something to hold them to
Got
and
it.
substantiate when you do get to the eviction process.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And I wanted to just double check on this. So let's just assume tenants fall 4 months behind, and they, at that point, can't come up with it, don't want to come up with it, whatever the situation. They could still go to collections, right? The landlord could put them
Yes,
through collections.
Absolutely.
So it's not like you're just going to move out and got 4 months for
because
free.
again, nothing so far has relieved any tenant of paying any rent.
Got it. Yes.
Okay. So yes, you can still collect. Now
Okay.
let's talk reality.
Yeah.
If someone got that far behind, is not getting their job back, might
Yeah.
be unemployed for a long time, you can't squeeze water from a rock.
Oh, exactly.
And so you'll need to make a determination. Is it worth going after?
Right.
And the local eviction attorney, FYI,
Yeah.
and I actually learned this a few years ago because I'm really good friends with the eviction attorneys.
Yeah.
Is that most eviction attorneys make 80 to 90% of their income from collection, not the legal fees to do the eviction.
Got
the
it.
eviction is almost a freebie given away.
Got it.
So that they can get the collection. So there are attorneys and eviction attorneys that will do the collection, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Got it.
They'll take a cut
Yes.
of whatever they collect.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, great. Wow, super information. We could wrap the show right now, and I think you gave enough information out there. Okay, well, we're not going to wrap the show. We're going to dive into the next question here.